You weren't randomly placed in an avoidance path by chance or coincidence. Your presence in their world serves a specific purpose in the cosmic curriculum of healing and transformation that operates beyond what either of you consciously understands. You were strategically positioned as their emotional teacher, mirror, and catalyst for growth at the exact moment when their soul was ready for the most important lesson of their lifetime: how to love and be loved authentically. You were sent as their emotional healer. Your arrival in their life coincided perfectly with their soul's readiness to heal the deepest attachment wounds that have kept them isolated and emotionally unavailable. You possess the exact combination of patience, understanding, and unconditional love that their wounded psychology needs to begin the healing process they've avoided their entire adult life. Your specific emotional frequency and healing capacity was matched to their particular type of woundedness, like a key designed for a specific lock. You have the precise qualities needed to penetrate their defenses without triggering their flight response, creating the perfect conditions for emotional growth. The universe positioned you as their healer, not because you need to fix them, but because your natural way of loving provides the therapeutic environment their psychology requires to begin integrating the emotional aspects they've rejected and denied for protection. You're their mirror for authentic self-recognition. You were placed in their life to reflect back their true capacity for love, connection, and emotional depth that they've buried beneath layers of defensive programming. Through your responses to them, they see glimpses of who they could become if they were brave enough to embrace their authentic emotional nature. Your presence serves as a living reminder of their potential for transformation and growth beyond their current limitations. You mirror back their capacity for genuine intimacy, vulnerability, and emotional generosity that they've convinced themselves they don't possess or need. The reflection you provide shows them not just who they are now, but who they're capable of becoming through the healing journey you've unknowingly initiated, simply by loving them authentically and seeing their potential rather than just their patterns. You were brought to activate their dormant heart. Your love awakens emotional capacities in them that have been dormant since childhood trauma taught them that feelings were dangerous and vulnerability led to pain. You activate their heart center in ways that force them to feel again despite their psychological resistance to emotional experience. This activation process is both gift and challenge because you're essentially performing emotional surgery on someone whose entire identity is built around emotional numbness. Your love forces them out of comfortable disconnection into the uncertain territory of authentic feeling. The awakening you provide isn't gentle or optional. It's a spiritual activation that disrupts their entire psychological equilibrium and forces them to choose between continued emotional death or the vulnerability required for emotional rebirth through your influence. You're their assignment in emotional maturity. You represent a graduation test in their emotional development, where they must demonstrate whether they've learned to love beyond their own comfort and convenience. Your presence challenges them to evolve from selfish love to selfless love, from conditional connection to unconditional acceptance. This assignment requires them to develop emotional skills they've never possessed: consistency, vulnerability, emotional generosity, and the ability to prioritize someone else's well-being alongside their own. You're the person they must learn to love properly to prove they've grown beyond their limitations. The test you represent isn't about whether you're good enough for them, but whether they're capable of the emotional maturity required to receive and reciprocate the level of love you naturally provide. You're their opportunity to prove they can graduate to healthy relationship capacity. You were sent to break their patterns. Your specific way of responding to their behavior creates pattern interrupts that force them to question and eventually abandon the defensive strategies they've relied on for emotional survival. You don't react the way their psychology expects people to react, which breaks their ability to predict and control relationship outcomes. This pattern disruption is essential for their growth because their avoidant strategies only work with people who respond predictably to emotional manipulation and withdrawal. Your responses force them to develop new ways of relating that require authenticity rather than strategy. The pattern breaking you provide creates enough discomfort with their old ways of functioning that they're motivated to try new approaches to connection. even though change feels threatening to their psychological safety and identity structure. You're their lesson in receiving love. You were positioned in their life to teach them how to receive genuine love without destroying it through suspicion, withdrawal, or self-sabotage. Your consistent care and acceptance provides them with ongoing lessons in allowing themselves to be loved without earning it or controlling it. This receiving lesson is crucial because their childhood experiences taught them that love comes with conditions, expectations, or eventual abandonment. Your unconditional approach to loving them challenges their fundamental beliefs about what love requires and what they deserve to receive. The education you provide in receiving love forces them to confront their unworthiness wounds and their fear that accepting genuine care will make them vulnerable to devastation if that care is ever withdrawn or used against them. You were brought to show them what they're fighting for. Your presence in their life provides them with a concrete example of what becomes possible when they do the emotional work necessary to heal their attachment wounds and develop secure relationship capacity. You're their vision of what awaits them on the other side of their growth journey. This motivation through demonstration is more powerful than any theoretical understanding of healthy relationships because you provide living proof that the love they've always wanted actually exists and is available to them if they're willing to become worthy of receiving it. You serve as their inspiration to do the difficult inner work required for transformation because you show them that the reward, genuine love and intimate connection, is worth the effort and vulnerability that healing demands. You're their catalyst for spiritual awakening. Your love activates not just their emotional capacity, but their spiritual awareness of the interconnectedness and sacred nature of authentic human connection. Through loving you, they access parts of themselves that connect them to something larger than their individual survival and self-protection. This spiritual awakening includes recognizing that love is the fundamental force in the universe and that their avoidance of love has been avoidance of their own spiritual nature and purpose. You awaken their understanding of love as spiritual practice rather than just emotional experience. The spiritual activation you provide transforms their understanding of relationships from psychological transactions to sacred opportunities for mutual growth, healing, and expansion into their highest potential as loving beings. You were sent as their final chance. Perhaps most importantly, you represent their last opportunity to choose love over fear, growth over stagnation, and authentic connection over continued emotional isolation. You're their final chance to get relationship right before they become too defended and damaged to receive genuine love from anyone. This finality adds urgency to the lessons you provide because their soul recognizes that if they can't learn to love you properly, they may never develop the capacity to love anyone properly. You're their last chance at emotional salvation and transformation, the sacred assignment. Your presence in their life isn't random, but part of a larger spiritual curriculum designed to help both of you grow into your fullest potential as loving beings. You were brought to them not as their completion, but as their catalyst for becoming complete within themselves. You were brought into their life because your soul signed up to love someone through their darkest emotional limitations into their brightest potential for authentic connection, a sacred assignment that serves both your spiritual evolution and theirs, regardless of the relationship outcome.